feel like that song that just unopened you. You were 10 years old, holding hands in the classroom. He had a gun on the first day of high school. You want something bizarre on conceptual cars. You want girls dressed in drag. You want boys with guitars. You float in the pool where the soundtrack is canned. You go ask your questions like what makes a man. Oh, it's 2020, so it's time to change that. So you go make an album and call it Dreamland. Tongue like tulips, bone in your blue tints, lemongrass eyelids, smoke in your slick lips, chocolate chopstick, backbeat strut flips, swimming pool spaceships, light through the wave tips, hot sugar in the afternoon. I wish that we could be real too. Hot sugar in the afternoon. I wish that we could be real too. So cool, but we don't talk. Hotels and alcohol, pool paintings on the wall, hot rubber on the top. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like. Bath time, Cool Whip, watermelon juice kiss, Esprit gold rims, skin so sun-licked, Santal freshness, hologram glasses, put it on plastic. You never been desperate. Hot sugar in the afternoon. I wish that we could be real too. Hot sugar in the afternoon. I wish that we could be real too. So cool, but we don't talk. Hotels and alcohol, pool paintings on the wall, hot rubber on the top. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you. 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 So cool, but we don't talk. Hotels and alcohol, pool paintings on the wall, hot rubber on the top. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you. I don't wanna be around you, just wanna be like you.
Hey, do you want to dance? Are you watching Sesame Street? No.
Said to you, why did you do it? Touch the glass, I feel you through it. Against the wall with the bracelets on. You look bizarre in the apricot. You think that your space goes, you want it goes too cold. Fuck that shit, now I go my way and you go yours. Gotta be all that cocoa, ayy. Playing too much of that cheap GTA, playing too much of that Dr. Dre. Doom Quake Witcher, get the gun from A. Really think that metal gonna make you safe? Playing peekaboo with the devil these days. Black cap black with the trench coat A. Living in the valley, cutting porno tapes. So sad we can't afford the clothes our heroes own. Remember when you stole Mom's old Geo Metro? You wore her old bathrobe, too small to see the road. We were just two Texas toddlers, Pokemon and bottle rockets, Dunkaroos and real monsters, cat with some straw in the bottom. You think that your space goes, you want it coast to coast. Fuck that shit, now I go my way and you go yours. You were looking up the cookbook names, cutting to the back of your bedroom door frame. Super villain with a manifesto, dang. Gotta say I'm pretty glad they cut you, man. Get back to the kickball days, scared to hold hands at school disco days. 007 Nintendo games, burned hot pockets in the microwave. You think that your space goes, your only coast to coast. Fuck that shit, now I go my way and you go yours. You better listen up. Chrome spokes with the spinners on his tire hubs. Suck smoke in his 40, windows up. He rolls like it really doesn't give up. Drug lust and 2 packets in your pocket. Disco dust hits your nose like a rocket. Out to the super club. Let rip like you drank all of the tequila. Get loose, street fighter, tear it up. Fresh forward, dripping out of you onto the rug. Pushing on the floor, ain't nothing better. Ooh, now you're letting go. Heart beating fast, your feet pushing on the floor, ain't nothing better. Wavy Davies on fire. You still got it, you still got it all right. Yeah, Wavy Davies on fire. You still got it, you still got it all right. Yeah. What is everybody talking about when they wanna live fast, but I'd rather walk it out? coconut is sitting on the floor. Coco said to maniac, I can't do this anymore. Everything we're doing just feels fucking cold. Everything we're shooting is just fake B-roll. B-sides, killing time, feel that's all. How did this happen when we were so close? How did this all go so P-tongue? When it all started, I thought we would grow old. Living in the city with a baby and a dog. Doing school runs in a 4x4. I had made pancakes and waffles. I could be a stay-at-home G.I. Joe.
When I wake up in the morning, I see nothing for miles and miles and miles. When I sleep in the evening, oh Lord, there she goes, only in dreams. She's only in dreams. Well, my love, we've been here before. Don't drag me through this again. We tried everything under the sun. Now I'm trying to wake up from this. I'm trying to make up for it. All we ever do is all we ever knew. You don't see why you world has no love to give. Well, what goes around comes around. I know sometimes you get so caught in a dream, but now it's time to wake up from this. It's time to make up for it. It's time to wake up from this. Yes, it's time to wake up from this. It's time to make up for it. All we ever do, is all we ever knew. Feeling low, feeling high, feeling down. Why isn't this enough? I'm feeling low, feeling high, feeling down. Why isn't this enough? Yeah, all we ever do is all we ever knew. All we ever do is time to wake up from this. so we wait for the night to find you. We get so high telling stories at night. Was it a lie or maybe more like a dream? Feels like I get a call at the station. Man on the line, hesitation. On the other line, it's just people taking time from the people who I don't want to give. Alright. And I know just where my heart should be. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. The city of angels. The city of angels. The city of. Tell me one thing. Just tell me what you see. 'Cause I have everything I want. I have everything I need. Right in front of me. Yes, she's right. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. Yes, she's right. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. Yes, she's right in front of me. In the city of angels. The city of angels. The city of angels. I found a lot of love in this town. Everywhere I go, but it never seems to stay. And I've never seen it grow. I found a lot of love in this town. In the city of angels. In the city of angels. I found a lot of love in this town. Everywhere I go, it never seems to stay. And I've never seen it grow. I found a lot of love in this town. In the city of angels. Now I know just where my heart should be. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. Yeah, I know just where my heart should be. In the city of angels. Everything I want, everything I need. In the city of angels. In the city of angels. In the city of angels. Ain't it nice to be so lucky? Ain't it nice to be so lucky? Come on, darling, won't you let me? Won't you let me drive you home? 'Cause I've had the rhythm and blues since the day you met me. Step on my blue suede shoes, watch Elvis go crazy. Come on, darling, won't you let me? Won't you let me turn you on? No one likes to be so lonely. No one likes to feel alone. Come on, darling, won't you let me? Won't you let me drive you home? I'll drive you home. Ooh, 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 ooh. to my head. Dark heroine of the books I have read. Pages torn out, I made up my own world. Deep in the dream, it's all built to last. You pulled the plug, drained me down fast. Pop my balloon, I fell from a great height. And I'm tired of wasting life, searching out, going round what became such a false alarm. 'Cause I'm looking for the truth, not some tired, cheap cliche. False treasure in a shallow pond. Fireworks blew out the top of your head. Powder and spark drew me to bed. Drift with you there down a dark and frozen street. I thought I found jewel of the Nile. You're just a shiny rock in my pile. So many stones stuck in my shoe. And I know if there's enough, it could make a parole that can lead me far from this town. 'Cause I'm looking for the truth, not some tired, cheap cliche. False treasure in the shallow pond. And I'm tired of wasting life, searching out, going round what became such a false alarm. Just a false alarm. Just a false alarm. Just a false alarm. A false Call me the dream, head in the clouds. One must go up, always comes down. I still believe this was always here for me. This was always me. So call me a dreamer. I feel like a clown. Guess that's what you get for sticking around. Don't know how much longer. I don't know how much pain I can bear. Honey, please. Holding on for you. What you need now? Oh, contrary. Oh, but the Mary. It's like everybody knows where you ran the show. about control.
Call me a friend, don't call me a foe. Look for the truth, no, you'll never know. Just look to the sky for the shooting golden lights like arrows in the night. Holding on for you. What you need now, all you need is love. Now you see what you done to me. I swear everybody knows. Holding on to me, hold it please, hold it. Drawn to that sort of library magic, whispering through the dusty air, watching all the thinkers read, trying to keep a grown man quiet. It's like pulling teeth on a winter's eve, cracks and poles and unfamiliar roads. I'm on this one to find out that you guess and brothers Shiraz can't stay healthy in the cloud of ice, listening to my every move, just trying to survive. Self-imposed adventure that selfishness drives. I can barely keep my head above the blue, trying to keep it off me and you. But I can see the sunshine's rays gleaming through the clear water, telling me gotta hop in for this chapter's right. There will always be better days. There will always be better days. Making music is what we do, trying to weave the patterns for me and you, trying to make the grasses breathe and a grown man cry. Truth in life is where I glean, tangled up in a funnel's winds, trying to come out walking. Understand it's beyond me talking, trying to come out walking. Understand it's beyond me talking. I can see the sunshine's rays gleaming through the clear water, telling me you gotta hop in for this chapter's right. There will always be better days. There will always be better days. Being alone isn't lonely, sought after like a holiday. Being home is my vacation, postcard dreams of a full-size bed. Quit the band one too many times, say it's enough to get a rise. Get up in the next morning for another drive. That's, I promise, the best advice we ever received is for you and me to stay together. It's easy to begin and hard to end. I'm just glad to go through it all with you as friends. I can see the sunshine's rays gleaming through the clear water, telling me you gotta hop in for this chapter's right. There will always be better days. There will always be better days. There will always be
richest man didn't build his house alone. Greatest lessons I learned. You will never be alone. With me in your thoughts, I'm always home. And every day of the week, I wanna make you weak in your knees and core. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause I can't get enough of your love, oh baby. Those lonely days are gone. I wanna be with you every dawn. But the sunrise got nothing on you. You're my good morning shine. No, I won't be shy when we're hand in hand and eye to eye. Oh,
Check, check. Hey everyone, we're just about to get started. There's a lot of seats over here if you want to grab a seat. You can grab a stool in the back too, but there are seats right up front. Don't be shy, come on up. We are just about to get started. So also, like, before we begin, we are also like live streaming tonight. So there are a couple cameras. I hope that doesn't dissuade you from sharing your GIV story later if you would like to. You don't have to, but if you would like to, you definitely can. But these cameras back here are live streaming, so there are people joining us online. If you want to turn, hi everyone online who's joining us. But thank you for being here, and if you're not here in person and you're online, welcome. We'll be starting in just a moment.
Jana up front, Jana up front. Their exits are here and here. Very good. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming this evening to celebrate GIV, celebrate the Governor's Institutes of Vermont. Woo, can I get a woo? All right. Okay, so can you hear me all right out there? Okay, so as Matthew mentioned, we're live streaming because we know that there's a much bigger community out there in the world who couldn't necessarily be even in Vermont or even in the country tonight, but is invested in what we are doing and what we have done for 41 years. And that we hope to continue for many, many years to come. And there are so many of you in this room who have contributed to the success of the Governor's Institutes of Vermont. I cannot even I had a lot of feels earlier today, and now I have more feels, and it's tough because I gotta also talk and be coherent. So my name is Elizabeth Frascoya. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the executive director of the Governor's Institutes of Vermont. And it's sort of like the hair club for men situation, right? Like I was also a student, right? So I came from, at 15 years old, having long hair and braces and my trombone in arms and just ready to take on the world. And GIV gave me that place. I want to really shout out Donnie, who's right here, who was the director of the Arts Institute at that time. Gave me that place to find my confidence, find my people. In fact, one of the people I found there, his name is Jacob Edgar, and I was hoping he was going to be here tonight, but he's stuck in the Dubai airport, apparently. So maybe he's on the live stream. Hi, Jacob. But there's just so many folks. Jacob was my teacher, but became my colleague and my friend, and just that's an amazing thing. I'm looking back 30 years ago at being a student and what an impact it had on my life as I became a professional musician, having gained that confidence there. So I'm just so grateful for it, and I am honored to be in the position I am now to help the organization move forward, as many of you are also helping to make it move forward and make sure that these opportunities are available for so many young people in Vermont. This year we had a record-breaking number of applications. 750 young people applied, including Ryland, so give Ryland all your best wishes. Apparently the Taylor Swift album is dropping on Friday, so we didn't want to compete with that, so we're announcing on Monday. And it's going to be great. But we have 608 spots this summer for young people. So while we are turning away folks that we wish we had space for, it's a lot more spots than we had last year and the year before that, and we're trying to make sure that that's available. I want to just shout out a couple special folks in the room, and particularly Kaomi Taylor-Mitchell, who is the previous executive director, who worked for, I think it was 11 years in your role. I mean, just worked so hard to make sure that the foundation is amazing. She's the person, along with the board, who made sure that sliding scale tuition came into play for GIV. That is a huge deal. And in fact, we almost, but between 75 and 80% of students every year need financial aid to attend. It is a huge thing to say to them, don't worry about money, right? Like, it just, they can't conceive of doing something like GIV until they hear you don't have to worry about the money part, right? It's just a big lift, a big weight lifted. So anyway, thank you, Kaomi, for so many years and so much effort that you did to build up this organization. And I want to bring up Susan Scorbati just to share a few words. She's going to have to leave early, so I want to make sure that we honor her. Susan, you guys are such good clappers, by the way. Like, amazing. So good. Susan was the very first director of the very first Governor's Institute, so I want to give it over for her for a moment.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you to everybody sitting in this room, because I know there's a lot of people here who have worked really hard. And it's amazing for me to think in 1983 that Christine Graham and Ellen McCullough Lovell and Stephen Kagan, who was the Commissioner of Education, contacted me in April and we had to have it happen by June. So I remember I had to go to talk to all the superintendents in Vermont. At that time, there were 2. Every district could send 2 students. So that's how it started. And then faculty, and Jeff, you might have been there, we met literally and created, I think, very much what's the structures that, for what I hear from people, are still all the institutes, as well as the arts. So it was a really, very committed people to education. I think that's why it's exciting to see that it's still happening and that so many young people's lives are transformed, because the educational ideas behind it were so solid and, powerful for young people to find their passions and their interests and be able to grow. And people just grow incredibly in 2 weeks or 1 week. So it's a very, very special experience, and it's amazing to think back 40 years that this got started and that it's still as powerful as ever. And Kiyomi and Elizabeth and just the people who have made sure that it keeps thriving and growing and even getting bigger and more interesting. So anyway, just want to thank everybody for doing that.
So I'm going to turn this over to Matthew Bingeno. So we have our whole GIV team, which is a rockin' 6 of us, is here tonight. And so just quickly, I'll shout them out, and then Matthew can introduce the video. Matthew made this film, and so he'll tell you a little bit about how that came to be. Afterwards, we're going to have an opportunity to just informally share memories and stories. So you can be thinking about, what comes up. If you could just have even a funny moment to share, I'm sure folks will enjoy that. No pressure, but this is it's a safe space. We try to create those. But I want to thank Mike right here on our team. He's our operations manager. Gaia Human Borrero, our operations coordinator. Ross Johnston, programs and alumni coordinator. Tamira Martell, Development Director, and Matthew Bingeno, our Outreach and Communications Manager.
Thank you for being here. So my name's Matthew. This past couple of years, especially this past few months, I got to visit 65 different Vermont high schools and share the magic of what GIV is. And it's really hard to capture, especially if you're in the corner of a lunchroom, shoved in with a bunch of high school students. But sometimes we have the chance to share media, and we can really show what it's like. So really, that experience of what GIV is, it's been an honor to try and capture that on film, in media. And that's what this film tries to do. It's called 40 Years of GIV, and it features a lot of you in this room. Actually, a lot of you. It actually technically features 39 people, and it's 40 years. So if you want to join in, we can add you in the edit, so then we can get to full 40. But to all the people who are part of this, it was just about trying to tell the story of the early days. And I think the intention with this film, which I didn't set out for it to do, was to show, and it does show a lot of the Arts Institute. All of the institutes are incredible, but in the early days, we have so much incredible footage from arts and stories, as well as it was called Current Issues at the time, and math as well, some of the earlier institutes. But the point of this video is to kind of show that the vibe way back then is exactly the same now. The values have been the same since the founding day, and that's why if you visit a institute this summer, and I hope you do, it'll probably look like this, even when you're seeing footage from the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Without further ado, can I kick it off? Thanks for being here. And to everyone joining us on the live stream, thank you for being here too. I know it's weird. It's weird talking to cameras, but it's not weird talking to you people joining us online, so thank you so much. After the film, though, please share your GIV story. We would love to hear it. And stick around at the very end of tonight. We're going to share a special video that we just finished today that captures what this past summer was like, which also features some of you. So thank you for being here. So Elizabeth, what is the Governor's Institutes of Vermont all about?
Well,
So Elizabeth, what is the Governor's Institutes of Vermont all about?
Well,
my name is Ellen McCulloch-Lovell, and I'm very pleased and proud to have founded the Governor's Institutes in 1983 with a lot of goodwill and excitement and creativity and help from other people. In 1983, I was the director of the Vermont Arts Council. I'd worked there for 13 years, and I was very engaged in arts education, really wanting every Vermont kid to be able to make art and understand art, whatever that form might be. And it was very lacking in the schools. In 1983, Steve Kagan was appointed as the Secretary of Education for the state of Vermont. And I had known Steve through some arts friends in Massachusetts and was eager to get together with him to see what might we do, what kind of partnership could there be between the Arts Council and the Vermont Department of Education. I'll never forget Steve kind of leaning towards me and just saying, Ellen, let's do something for the kids. And what we realized where we were headed was something more immediate and direct and less having to do with systems in infrastructure, something that would make a difference in kids' lives. And we got very excited about the idea of actually doing something that summer. I mean, just like crazy ambitious. Let's do something. And I turned to Christine Graham.
well, I'm Christine Graham, and I was the individual who developed the program concept for the Governor's Institutes in 1982 and 83, and then I was the executive director for the first 6 years of the program. I was invited by Ellen Lovell, who was the director of the Vermont Council on the Arts, and Steve Kagan, who was the commissioner of education at the time, to do a little research project and figure out how they could develop a program outside of the schools for students that were interested in the arts and were underserved by the public school system.
So my name is Susan Scorbati, and my current position is I'm director of the Center for the Advancement of Public Action at Bennington College. And I was the first director of the first Governor's Institute, which is the Governor's Institute on the Arts. And I was the director for the first 5 years. And I also really kind of collaborated and co-founded the concept with Christine Graham, Ellen Lovell, and Steve Kagan.
My name's Steve Kagan, and I'm just past my 80th birthday. And I'm looking back on 40 years ago, I was the state education commissioner in Vermont. Ellen and I had some previous experience in working on arts initiatives. And together, we put together an idea. The idea was to have special opportunities for students, particularly high school students in Vermont, that would transcend the opportunities that they had during the course of their academic year. And we attached the appellation of Governor's Institutes because we really wanted these to be special opportunities that would attract school administrators and also to young students for nominating themselves for this opportunity.
You know, this was before the internet, so all the research I did was calling other states and finding out what they did and talking to students about what they wanted and contacting schools to find out what kinds of programs they had. And with all that research, I developed a proposal for running a summer program for Vermont students in the arts, just the arts at that time. And I think it must have been like the end of March that I presented the proposal to Steve and Ellen. And they said, this sounds great, let's do it this year. And so it was like April, middle of April, that they said, go for it. We'll run the first program the beginning of July. And so then we had to figure out how are we going to get students and how we're going to let them know about it and where we're going to run these programs and who is going to teach in them. So we did that.
Literally had to get on the phone with all 52 superintendents. It was that intense. And literally they, for the most part, all sent 2 students. That's how it was set up at that point. And so that first summer, it was at Linden State College. And we had 2 sessions, 2 weeks each, with high school students and middle school students.
We put together the proposal. We went to the governor then, Richard Snelling, to see if he would have interest in the idea. And he did. He was actually quite enthusiastic about it. And with his strong support, we launched the first institute. But we also had in mind, and Dick Snelling, I think, supported this quite directly, that we would have institutes in other subjects as well. One of which was international affairs. And it wasn't held in the first year of the institutes. But after we had the first Institute in the Arts held at Linden State College, we decided to also pursue others. Probably the one on the international affairs was spearheaded in part by the existence of the School of International Affairs in Brattleboro, Vermont.
Of course, this all had to be financed. So Secretary Kagan and I were willing to commit money from our agencies, but we knew the model was going to require private money. We always figured maybe it could be like a third public, a third private, and a third from the school systems or the parents. So we tried to create a financial model that was sustainable from the very beginning. For the private funding, we went to the Wyndham Foundation. And Stephen Morse, who was the president at the time, also completely got it and came up with a substantial enough grant for us to feel like we could go ahead and do this. And we did it.
So everything by telephone and letter writing, and I just took over my whole basement with because all the students had to put in applications, and we had stacks and stacks of applications, and we went through them all and we selected kids, and it was wild.
One of the things that I think was really exciting that we were given the freedom to do that very first summer was to really invent like the structure. And that really was a collaboration with the faculty.
It was a really remarkable experience because with the focus on underserved kids, we got kids who really didn't perform well in anything in school at all. They were just, like, as we said, sitting behind the barn and drawing and wishing they could do art, but had no resources to do it.
There were kids out there who felt really isolated, like they were the only ones. I mean, literally, the boy writing a novel in, under the covers in bed with a flashlight, or the one who thought she or he was the only dancer or the only person who loved to create costumes and be in theater. And so the idea of bringing these kids, identifying them and bringing them together with other artists really caught our imaginations, and we knew it would really do something for the kids.
I was very much a believer in the John Dewey learn by doing approach, and that's what we built the whole program on, and we had working artists as the faculty.
My name is Donnie Osman. I came to Vermont and worked in theater for most of my life as a theater performer. I have been associated with a number of theater companies and other disreputable things.
Students need to study with people who are working in the professions and who understand what it is to be an artist or a scientist or a mathematician or whatever they're studying, and not to always relate adults just to their high school teachers. You know, not that there's anything wrong with being a high school teacher, but that that doesn't give them an awareness of what a career in a specialized field might be.
In the very first year of GIA, I came as a visiting artist and performed a show. The second year, I was theater faculty. And I think in the third year, we're trying to remember back, I became the director of the program.
It's really important to remember that the institutes were not designed to create new professionals. It wasn't about, you know, you're going to be a professional artist or jazz musician, you know, or theater person. But it was about acknowledging their creativity and giving them some skills and developing those skills, however they might want to use them in life.
One of the things that I love about theater, which is also true of a project like the Governor's Institute on the Arts, is I love the collaborative process where a number of people come together focused on getting one thing done. You know, in terms of GIA, providing a really rich, deep, meaningful experience for the students that come each year.
That actually is pretty unusual, that you have a program that makes sure that a student is like going through, they know there's something for themselves, they know they're going to find a smaller group to really relate to, and they know they're going to have to connect to like a larger community. And it's very intentional. And so I think, to me, that because that was developed at that very first year, I think that that was something about education. And when I think about Dewey, you know, I think about literally like progressive education and, you know, democracy. This is really was a realization of the people who really thought about education and how powerful it can be. And so to me, that's exciting, and that you could see it happen within a week or 2 weeks.
GIA was really a magical experience. I think it's a magical experience quite often for the students. And I think it's the same for everybody who's involved, for all the faculty. It was really like being a part of a family.
It was also never supposed to be more summer kind of camp activity for kids who have those opportunities. It was for the kids who don't have the opportunities. That's the other really moving thing to me about the institutes that I dearly hope the institutes hold on to as a value. Finding those kids who wouldn't have the opportunity. It's not about, you know, you're the most talented. It's about, you know, you're the one with the desire and the creative spirit and the curiosity and the need to express yourself in all these different disciplines.
The experience of a lot of the kids who came to the Arts Institute, and I assume who still come, they were kids who in many ways didn't fit into where they were. The misfits, often, not all the time. Building a community of acceptance, and again, in real ways, not just mouthing it, but actually doing it. I think so many kids who come find themselves and find a sense of confidence and a path to growth and maturity. What could be more important?
Probably if you were to test, which you wouldn't want to do, but if you were to test all the students at GIV at the end of that week in a way that really evaluated what they've learned, it would be off the charts. off the charts. And they would know that. They would know that it was like, even in that 1 week, how much was learned. And I'm talking about in an academic way, right? Not just emotionally maturity-wise and all that. It's just that they don't want to measure it that way. They want to measure it through a standardized test that you would get in public school and, fill in the dots.
My experience of everybody at GIA is caring about each individual student. That gets thrown around like a platitude. It was not a platitude. People really cared. Each individual faculty member cared about the students in their classes and the problems that were going on. And we really worked to make people have a valuable, deep experience. And the proof is in the pudding. They did have it.
And that's why I think the Governor's Institute has survived with all the issues that everything has right now in nonprofits, and, much easier to go away now than to stay in general. I think the reason that it's still here is because actually fundamentally it works, and it's not dependent on any one person. It's dependent on the ideas around education.
And then we began to expand, and we did the international affairs after that, and science was the third one. And then I was done, and the rest of it you probably know.
My name is Jean Olson, and I was the executive director from '94 till 2010.
My name is Kaomi Taylor Mitchell, and I was the executive director of the Governor's Institutes from 2010 to 2021.
My name is Elizabeth Frascoya, and I am the executive director of the Governor's Institutes of Vermont. I'm also an alum. I attended the Arts Institute in 1994 and the Math Institute in 1995 and 1996. And I've been on staff for a long time. I've been involved in this for almost 3 decades now, and it's extremely, extremely meaningful to me.
So when I heard about GIV, I knew on a really personal level what it could mean for Vermont students.
I really love about GIV that it gives every student their own individualized push forward to success. So students really come and have the chance to find what they need at the Governor's Institutes. So a student that really is kind of shy and doesn't quite know what they want, they're going to get a little extra support in finding what they want. A student that's real driven and knows, wow, I really want to learn more about this type of technology or this type of engineering, is going to have the opportunity to work with experts in that. So I love how flexible and independent it's been.
GIV helps students on the path to success because those students are curious and interested. They're motivated. They're passionate enough to come for a week or 2 weeks in the summer, to give up that part of their summer to dive into something. And then GIV can create an environment, can create a safe space where they can be vulnerable enough to mess up, to fail, to take risks, and that then they see how capable they are. They see how important their own voice is. And whether they go on to be an engineer or an artist or whatever the topic of their institute, they hopefully take those skills forward to be a successful human being. That's what I think is really the best outcome.
Being in community with other students like themselves is tremendously important. It allows a certain freedom, I think. And I've heard from students to be themselves, to try maybe some other identities that they don't exhibit in their hometown or in their home school, that they're kind of keeping secret. And this gives them a chance to flourish.
I loved music, and I really wanted to be around other people who loved music and loved theater. And when I found out about the Governor's Institutes, it was through a family friend. She had been the year before, and her mom told my mom, who recommended that I look into it. So I applied, and I am so, so grateful. It really, that summer changed my life. You keep hearing this, but it really changed my life. I found folks who loved being their quirky selves, right? Loving theater and writing and music and dance and visual art. And I got to not only dive deeper into music, which I loved so much, but also got to try things like acrylic painting, which is not my forte, y'all. But I had a really good time doing it, and I felt like I could try new things, and I felt like I was in this community that was so up for anything, and it was so much fun.
If you're immersed in something that you're enjoying so much with other people who are also enjoying, it allows staying focused on something you care about all day and all night. I think in a typical life, all of us are asked to fragment during our days. So the kind of retreat that GIV offers, I think, is significant.
One of the things that I loved always when I was at Governor's Institutes, and still when I talk to people today, is when they say to me, Governor's Institutes changed my life. Governor's Institutes is the reason that I am an oceanographer, a doctor, an engineer, an archaeologist, you know, that sort of thing. And people have gone out from GIV and done such fascinating things and such important things and made a real difference in the world. You know, I know there's one student that I know of who went through our Engineering Institute who discovered some massive bug in security that was, you know, going to wipe out the whole world. I'm exaggerating, of course, but, you know, to see that name in the newspaper and know that this is somebody who sat with me in the legislature and said, GIV was everything to me. I used to think that I was just weird. Then I realized that I was an engineer, is what this kid said to me. And so it's just, it's so rewarding to have been a part of that.
I'm most proud of stabilizing the organization and then growing it and then sort of like tilling the garden just a little bit deeper so that future folks could make it even richer. And I think that's what's happening.
I am extremely proud, in particular, of the faculty and staff who I brought on and brought up. And Elizabeth is the prime example of somebody who came through, started as a student, climbed up the ladder, and now is the executive director of the whole thing. And I'm just going to take a little bit of credit for that.
It's a little bit of a funny story. I was waitressing one summer, I guess during college I was waitressing, and I got a call from Donnie Osman, who was the director at the time, longtime director of GIA, and he said, we have this last minute opening for an RA, can you be there like next week? And I was like, yeah, I'm quitting my job. I quit my waitressing job, and I was a little hesitant in some ways because I didn't want to sort of see behind the curtain and know what happened to make this incredible experience. But once I did, I was even more impressed, and I grew so much by being a staff member. Every year that I returned as an RA, and then as assistant director of the Arts Institute, and then eventually as the director of the Arts Institute, the people who make this engine run are just so amazing and are working so hard and are so thoughtful and caring about these young people. It's hard work. It's a lot of personal growth as a staff member as well as a student. So that kept me coming back because I kept learning new things about myself and pushing my own boundaries.
It's not too much to highlight the trustees, the legislators, the businesses, the foundations. Truly every area in Vermont contributes. And I think it's remarkable in that way. We value it, we know the value of it. Our students and alums know the value of it.
So we have more than 12,000 alumni who've gone through these institutes over the last 40 years. It's such an incredible milestone to hit this moment, and we hope to be around for another 40 and beyond. I hope that those alumni feel that GIV was an important spark in their life and that it still lives in them, that the things that they were opened up to in even that brief period of time still feel open, or that they can hopefully think back on GIV and reconnect with those feelings. And I'd love to hear their stories. You know, if you're watching this and you're an alum,
We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know where your path has taken you.
Both my daughters attended one or more institutes. Our older daughter went to the Arts Institute. She started painting as a student there. She has painted every single day of her life since her experience at GIA. She runs her own painting business, interiors, in central Vermont. She's just had her second art show recently at the Highland Center for the Arts. And our other daughter, our younger daughter, also went to the Arts Institute, then went to Skidmore where she majored in art. She incorporates art into everything she does. She's a teacher, a speech language pathologist and a teacher at Montpelier High School. And what I know from them is when young people get together, even if they don't know one another, eventually the topic will come up and they'll uncover the fact that several went to GIV. Oh, you went to GIV? What year did you go? Well, I went to this institute. Oh, I went to that institute. It goes on. My daughters are in their 40s, and that conversation still happens. How cool is that?
GIV is the start of the next step.
GIV is community.
GIV is freely exploratory.
GIV.
GIV is a world opener.
GIV is self-expression.
It represents growth, learning, belonging, and community.
GIV is super good for your kid.
GIV is discovery.
GIV is life-changing.
GIV is overwhelming, I think. Or like a word akin to that.
GIV is transformational.
GIV is explore.
GIV is a place to celebrate your weird.
GIV is joyful.
GIV is where you come as you are.
GIV is a place that changes your life.
GIV is the best place to amplify connections and really dig into your interests and accelerate anything that you're currently interested in or intrigued by, and really immerse yourself with students and professionals and like-minded individuals who can really bring those expertise out of you and teach you more and walk away with lifelong friendships and skills.
GIV is eye-opening, exciting, and nothing short of an adventure.
GIV is inspiration, a web of connection, and the kind of world that I want to build.
It's an opportunity. GIV is an opportunity.
A wonderful opportunity to learn about yourself and learn about your passions.
GIV is inspirational.
GIV is community, connection, and creativity.
GIV is the best exploration way you can find.
GIV is explorative.
GIV is inspiration. GIV is inspiration in the sense that it brings life and brings air to a very important idea. It is that which is shown in the faces of the young people who have an experience where there is inspiration.
GIV is a launch pad.
GIV is a place of self-discovery and new beginnings.
GIV is creating opportunities, making connections, and discovering yourself and your passion.
GIV is impactful and life-changing.
GIV is powerful.
So what's GIV? I think it's hard to put into words. We use words like awesome and life-changing, but it really is. People that go through GIV, I think they come away with a much stronger sense of who they are and what's possible. I think they come away knowing they can do a lot more than they thought. And that carries them into their future, and that sense just grows.
As someone alluded to in here, GIV really isn't one person, right? It's 13,000 young people so far, and a countless number of staff people, supporters, friends, donors, the legislature, many governors. We're just grateful. Just feeling really grateful for all the people who've put love and time into this crazy project, and I cannot believe they put it together in like 2 months. The first one, has anyone ever produced a thing? That's crazy. So I'd like to, did Tracy have to go? Does anybody know? Oh, Tracy's here. Oh yeah, nice. So I asked Tracy to kick off a little bit of story sharing, and what we're gonna do is pass the mic, and you can just pass it if you don't want to talk, but if you want to just say a quick intro of your name and your affiliation with GIV and any memory, I'd love to maybe go to Sue and then Jeff, and then people could raise their hands, but we'll use the mic for folks on the live stream who can only hear through this.
Do I need to stand up? Okay. Hi, I'm Tracy Truzansky, and in 2022, I was asked to be part of the Governor's Institute of Health and Medicine, and I'd done some consulting work with the Northern Vermont Area Health Education Center, and I was like, I think I know what Governor's Institute's about. I think I saw something at Champlain College years ago, and so I said, sure, it sounds really fun. I had no idea, really, what I was getting into. And we were at Norwich University, and I don't know how many people remember this, but there was a COVID outbreak with our staff. And we had spent 3 days preparing and getting things set up, and then we suddenly had to break it down, rapid fire. And I remember going home, and my daughter had come to this as well as a participant. And I finally got home after unpacking the whole thing, and I just broke down in the kitchen. I just sobbing, oh my God, all the work that went into that. And she's like, I know, Mom, I was there. So the kids felt it too. But good news is that we were able to resurrect pretty much everything we had hoped to do up at Vermont State College at Linden. Am I saying it correctly now? And so we had a fantastic, I had a fantastic first full summer experience there. And one of the stories that I can think of was I got to step out of the administrative role where I predominantly work with the med students and mentors. And I got to lead a session making prosthetic legs. I'm kid you not, this was a wild idea in 90 minutes. And so we were teaching kids real basics about biomedical engineering, and the kids actually did work in small groups, and they learned how a prosthetic leg and movement and gait and all kinds of things. And we had a fantastic time, but the story is really that there was a couple of kids who came up to me later on and said, I really had my mind set on, I can't remember, I think it was something to do in respiratory therapy or something like that. And they said to me, that session, I am totally changing my mind. I want to do biomedical engineering. This was so cool. It was really fun. I totally get it now. So for me, the experiential education at Governor's Institute is critical, and it's also the part that makes it so memorable. But I think it's also great when kids put something in the discard pile. It's part of the learning is yeah, dissection is not for me. And and they might be really interested in medical ethics. So I think that, for me, is what Governor's Institute is about, is trying new things like acrylic painting or whatever Elizabeth said she did, said it wasn't my forte. And that's good. I think that's what kids need to also know. So that's my story.
Awesome. I'm Sue Bentledge. Yes, quick clap for Tracy. That was awesome. I'm Sue Bentledge. I'm a new board member, and I'm associated with Governor's Institute because I was so inspired seeing students that went to Mount Mansfield High School go through different institutes, including my daughter. She went to the Arts Institute. I'm an engineer by training. I do that today. I'm an electrical engineer. I design computer chips. I tried to make both my kids go in that direction, and it backfired. So Governor's Institute was an opportunity for my daughter to say, over there, I want to try that. And she did, and now she is following her passion, and she's very happy being a musician. So Okay, she won a Grammy this year.
Get ready. It was 20 years ago. I'm Jeff Hewitt, and 20 years ago I was asked to write a poem to celebrate 20 years of GIV. And so here it is. It's called Right After the Institute. When I say goodbye to someone I love, it feels good, the hug, and maybe someone's shoulder catches a tear. I've seen one or two on a hot summer day spreading into light cotton blouses and shirts. What good luck not to start bubbling, blubbering, carried off by the moment, making promises no sane person could keep. What excuses any sane person can make apply to me. Students make the promises, stuff like, I'll write you from college. Sometimes I worry about those who do. Get a life and seek new moments of focused community. You found the Institute. You can find, or maybe found, another. Perhaps you know you'll never hear from me again unless you make the effort to reach out. But you will find replacements who will also mist up and evaporate at parting. Let them go. They were meant only for the time you were together. They've got families too. Just continue what you did with me. Let your summer's learning steer you through fall and inevitable winter. By then you'll know whether this is really for you. And if it is, don't let anyone ever tell you no. While we are on the subject, remember your peers. They can be the geniuses of your life. That kid you met at the Institute can be your lifelong friend, someone to outlast your teachers who have no wish to break your heart.
I thought I had nothing to say. That never happened. So I'm Donnie Osman. I was the director of the Arts Institute for 25 years. And I think that what I wanted to say after this film is to talk not about the student experience, which we've been appropriately focusing on, but I wanted to talk about the experience of those of us that worked at the Arts Institute and how meaningful it was. I think about just a couple of things. I think about, my dear friend Jeff, who I've been friends with for over 40 years. And Jeff came my first year, I think it was 1987. And Jeff and I, unsurprisingly, stayed up all night drinking a bottle of peach schnapps that Jeff brought. All night. And we talked all night. And we have kept that conversation going all these years. And I think about, again, not focusing on the student, but our experience, what it was like for us. Late at night in the faculty lounge, and our dear friend Chuck Meese and Kevin, who still works, his son, Kevin. And Chuck was by far the best folk singer raconteur that I have ever seen. And I'm a folkie. I'm Arlo Guthrie's friend saying this. And I think about the deep relationships that I had with Elizabeth and Jasmine. And I just wanted to put that out, because not only was this a deep experience for all the students that took part, but this was really an amazing experience of lifelong friendship and love for those of us that work there.
My name is Rylan Williams. I was a recent attendee of last year's Global Issues Youth Action Institute. And for me, I think GIV really transformed me as a person. And none of you here really saw me and were like my teachers at the Institute. But I think from the beginning of the Institute, I was kind of just the quiet kid sitting in the corner reading a book. And then by the end, I was talking to everybody, and we were all hanging out. We all had a good time. And I think that outside of even the more like academic focused parts of GIV, just the way that everyone there discovered themselves a little bit, even if they didn't know it. And as I get farther and farther from it, I realized how much it kind of shifted me as a person into following my passions more and recognizing what I really want to do, as opposed to what people want me to do. And also the aspect of just learning how to stand up for myself from global issues with action specifically. Like now I found myself just going places more and standing up more and getting my voice out there more. And it's just opened so many doors in the way that I think and the people that I know and what I'm able to do as a person.
Good evening, folks. I'm Shannon Walters, and I am one of the program co-directors of the Technology and Design Institute, formerly the IT Institute. And my journey started, I think, back in 2011 when Kaomi Taylor invited me. I'd been teaching for about 15 years. I thought I had it all down, but she invited me down to winter weekend at Goddard College. And on a very, very incredibly snowy weekend, we walked around in below zero temperatures to see students excitedly making, I can't even think, engineering hot pots outside because they were so passionate about it, and they couldn't do it inside, but they were using biofuel engineering pots. And watching Azagati, who is a former Blue Man Group performer, teach performance to students, and students working on 3D modeling with SketchUp in the library, and just looking at students diving in and working with people that they hadn't known 12 hours before and thinking, I've got to get to be a part of this. The following year, I joined Tech and Design, and it is the hardest fun that I've ever had, to the point of, at the end of the Institute, we said goodbye to all of our students and all of the tiers, and really trying to help them separate from the community that they had built. And then I headed home. Our institute's in Burlington. I just live in Richmond. But stopping at the Staples Plaza to have a nap before I drove the extra 10 miles down the street and realizing my co-director was also napping, because of all of the nights that you don't want to go to sleep because you want to get it right for students. And that was things like having a student being in a class that their parents really wanted them to take because there were jobs in graphic design, and not being fed, not having his passion fed, and being able to say, this isn't school, this is about you, and not how many hours you are sitting in a classroom seat that you're not excited about, and we get to do this differently for you. And when I head off to GIV, sometimes my coworkers and colleagues will say, wait, school is over and you're gonna go spend time with 75 high school kids? And I get to say, no, I get to go spend this time. We get to do it differently. We get to help people find their people, and mostly we get to help them find their passions in themselves.
My name is Jasmine, and I was never a student because I grew up in New Hampshire. But I turned 19 at GIA and was a staff member for 12 years. And there is nobody in the world that I've shared more matching outfits with than Elizabeth. And it was an honor of a lifetime to contribute to the GIA community and the GIV community. And it clarified for me my life path, which is to build communities for quirky and neurodiverse young people. And I continue to do that today in other community settings. And I'm grateful to this community where I just completely built my core life community through GIV.
Hi. Wow. I'm Maya. I was an AmeriCorps service member with GIV back in 2021. And it was my first job after the pandemic. I put job in quotes because AmeriCorps is about service, not about work. And yeah, I think I credit my experience with HQ as the thing that got me to sort of crawl out of the isolation of what we all experienced of that 2020 first season of the pandemic. And I resonate a lot with what Donnie was saying about the experience of us who work for GIV as being just as magical as what the students get to experience. And since my time with GIV, I've continued working with youth and high schoolers, directing theater with high schoolers in Barrie, Vermont. And they themselves are this microcosm of community that they pour themselves into the work that they do in that school. And they talk a lot about how the rest of the school environment is not as community oriented, it's not as welcoming for their quirkiness, it's not as, it's just not as caring as what they cultivate in that space. And it just makes me think of GIV as that on an amplified level for students to be able to go in the summertime and experience that where they might not be able to in their hometowns. So super grateful for GIV for all of those reasons.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I want you to imagine me at 4 years old. So at 4 years old, my mom carted me up to the Governor's Institute on the Arts along with my brother in tow for the 4th of July parade. And we were responsible for handing out the crowns. That's a good job to have. And I had that job because my dad worked as a teacher at the Governor's Institutes in the Arts, and he led a jazz program. And I continued attending the Governor's Institute of the Arts for maybe 10 years, visiting 2 days at a time, 4 days at a time, 8 days at a time, until it got to the full 2 weeks. And then I was a student. Along that way, Jazzy and Elizabeth and Donnie and Jeff and a lot of other people who are involved in the GIV community today in one way or another knew me when I was 4 years old, 8 years old, 13 years old, as I learned what it meant to have a community around me. And by the time I was 18 years old and going off to college, I thought, I want what GIA is doing. I want that out of my college experience. I didn't quite find that, but I realized that GIA is magic, but it's not magical. And that's something that Corey said to me this past summer, and it's because the components that make up GIA, GIV, all of these institutes are really important for all high school students. It's a community. It's freedom to explore. It's positive emotions, making new friends who are just as weird as you and accept you at your weirdest. And that's why I work for GIV today. I want to create that opportunity for other students and make sure that they know that they belong somewhere. And that somewhere might be GIV for the first time in their life, and they can find that in other aspects of their life too. Thank you all for being here.
Very happy to take the mic. Wei Wei Wang, she, her pronouns. My father, Jafei Wang, he ran the Governor's Institute on Asian Cultures for many, many, many years. And he started that program, so I'm like kind of in your boat. I think my first institute was around the age of like 10 or 11, something like that. And what was special about Governor's Institute on Asian Cultures is that the students would participate for a week at UVM the first year. And then the second year, they would actually go to China for 2 weeks. And over the course of the year, everyone stayed connected. They had to do presentations on a topic of interest, and then that would be like their ticket to China. And we would spend 2 weeks traveling through China, going to Beijing, going to Inner Mongolia, Qufu, Confucius's homestead, these places where it was an extension of the 1 week that we had on campus, which was so beautiful. And through that experience, I got to see kids from Canaan, Vermont, leave their town for the first time to go to Burlington, and then get onto a plane for the first time to go to China, and to really expand their horizons. I also saw a lot of kids who were adopted or had been born here by Asian parents go and experience an Asian culture where they did not stand out. And so some of my best friends are still from Governor's Institute. We are still connected. I see them regularly. And what I loved about it, and that's why one of the reasons I love Governor's Institute, is what you all have said. It's created a community for me where one didn't exist. And what I think is interesting, so this is my colleague, Tino Rutanhira. His daughter did Governor's Institute as well. I'm going to give you the mic next. But he and I started we started the Governor's Institute. No, we co-founded and now are co-executive directors of the Vermont Professionals of Color Network. And one of my biggest inspirations was my father, because he worked his entire career, and even now, to bring people to China and outside of Vermont. And now Tino and I are working on keeping people here and bring people here to Vermont to increase the workforce, to make sure that people feel seen and heard. So that is the legacy of Governor's Institute. That's the power of Governor's Institute. Like something that I love doing now in my work is connecting people to resources. And I think I'm realizing after listening to you guys talk about your experience, the reason I love that so much is because I basically grew up doing that through Governor's Institute. I knew that program in and out. I knew where people should go. I knew the dorms on campus. I knew what gate to go to at the airport, so, and that's kind of what I'm doing now, providing technical assistance to the people that we serve in our community. So I was so pleased to join the board when I got reconnected to Elizabeth and the Governor's Institute a couple of years ago. And it's just so rewarding. The staff are incredible, so enthusiastic, and just like so passionate about the work. And it's a wonderful organization. So donate.
I guess I'm forced to say something. So, yeah, my daughter went to Governor's Institute in 2020, which was probably maybe the worst year to do Governor's Institute, because everything was virtual. She had been so excited about going to live on a campus and learn about, she wanted to study medicine. But through the online classes she did, she actually discovered that maybe medicine wasn't her passion, and she actually discovered that political science was her passion. And so my daughter is now in college and studying political science, and I think partly because of the experience at Governors Institute, in a positive way, she realized that like the medical industry wasn't really where her passion lied. So I thank you for giving her that exposure.
And for saving you money.
And for saving me money.
Hi, my name is Dawn, and I'm a GIV volunteer. I've been spending a lot of time working on a project finding people who were students and have now moved on. And mostly it's been online doing what I call skip tracing, trying to find their current addresses, their Facebooks, their LinkedIns, whatever. Well, I found a fellow who lived in San Francisco, and he was a labor organizer. There was all kinds of press about him, and I thought, maybe this is the same person that I'm seeing here. But I wasn't sure, so I called him, got him on the first try, and I said, did you go to GIV in Vermont? And he said, yes. And I said, wow, I can't believe I found you, and you know, this is great. We talked a little bit about GIV, and what he said was a really amazing moment for me. He said, GIV saved my life. And that's all I have to say.
Hi, my name's Felix, of that video fame. I went to GIA in 2022, and I learned about it from Matt Bingeno, who was my teacher at the time. Most of my free time there was spent sitting in a hot and stuffy room with a piano. And it was really great to have that, like, to be able to devote all of your time and attention to the one thing that you want to do with equipment that was a lot better than I, would have ever hoped to ever getting with the job that I didn't have. I think what really struck me the most was that, like, as living in Vermont, which is such a small state, it can really feel like your town is like the entire world, and there's no one else there. And if there's another, like, if there's no one near to you physically who's also autistic or who's also queer, it can feel like that's just kind of how my life is. I'm not going to meet anyone who's like me, but being physically forced to stay with people who were also autistic and also queer for 2 weeks, it was so enlightening, and it felt so great just being with people who who also share that sentiment of being like, I thought I was the only one. Yeah, it was really great. It was very overwhelming, but yeah, it was a fun time.
I'm Kayomi Taylor. I used to run the Governors Institutes from 2010 to 2021, I think, and I just feel so privileged to have been a part of this family, and that's the thing, is that this is a large family and a functional family, not a dysfunctional family, right? And it's one that really has worked for 40 years. It's been amazing to be part of, and I want to include the board in that, as well as the donors in that. I can tell you that the fact that people at Governors Institutes meet on this plane of discovery and inspiration and possibility makes so much happen and makes so much possible and makes for such positive relationships in a time when we don't necessarily see that happening throughout the world. So it's more important now than ever. And I'm so grateful to Elizabeth for picking this up and the whole team at headquarters, because they are just doing such amazing things with growing this program and moving it forward and moving it into the future. Thank you to the new board members who I haven't met yet. Thank you to the old board members who made this a heck of a thing to be part of. We're so lucky. We're so incredibly lucky. So let's keep this going. That's all I got to say.
So I think we're about to run out of time. Any last call remarks? Okay, so before we go, we're going to do one final ending video because we've never shared this before. This was our past year. Elizabeth might have a quick comment. Before you go, though, also make sure you hit up the photo booth, and there's free stuff over there, T-shirts and all.
Yes, thank you so much for everyone for being here, and please keep connected to each other and to us. There are a couple old vintage GIA yearbooks magazines here. If anyone wants to thumb through some stuff from 2005, really good ones, do not take them. You can look at them. There are also yearbooks from this year from all the institutes. Do not take those either. But you can look at them. All the other stuff, you could take a copy. We've got stickers, T-shirts, some vintage T-shirts, y'all, like, old school ones. We've got some water bottles. Oh, Shannon is showing pop sockets. Thank you, Shannon. There's brochures, which we don't really need anymore, so please give them to someone and be like, hey, have you heard about this thing? And then you can tell them for next year. You are all invited for final days. Things will be on our website. If you're not following our social media, please do, because we'll post any opportunities. But we're going to show you this 3-minute video that just wraps up what happened last summer, and thanks again for being a part of it.
GIV is not a merely one-time experience. It was a catalyst for ongoing personal and collective growth. It provided not only an educational platform, but also connected me with invaluable individuals who become my collaborators, mentors, and friends. The ripple effect of GIV continues to shape my journey, reinforcing my commitment to social change and inspiring me to collaborate with others who share this vision. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey, and I hope that my experiences resonate with the importance of GIV, communities that drive positive change.